fast do my check-in videos and then also weigh in. Currently making coffee and breakfast, so. Good morning. It is Friday the 15th. Last night we went out to dinner with Mickey for her birthday, and that was just a good time. You know, I feel like it's really cool to be able to spend all the holidays and stuff with our new family, so that's really cool. We got our first official change in prep, so I am going to be cutting down weight for the next couple of weeks, so I'm interested to see how it goes, because sometimes my body likes to be stubborn. So originally I obviously had admirations to post twice a week on YouTube, but I don't feel like my schedule is as permitting. Eventually it will, and as of right now I don't necessarily think that I should stress myself out about forcing this content for you guys. I want it to be as authentic and genuine for you and me as possible. That being said, I'm gonna have a minimum of once a week, maybe depending on what happens in the weeks and my schedule and everything, because I do all the editing myself, and right now I don't have a desktop editor, but I have stuff just on my phone. I am just gonna keep giving you updates on a weekly basis. On the other note, I do constantly keep up to date on my Instagram, my TikTok, and my blog, which you can go to at fatgirlsquats.com or thicandthin.com. That's 3 C's, an N, and just a normal thin. But I just, one, don't want to overwhelm you guys with a ton of information, and two, it kind of makes me feel conceited, and three, I don't have a whole lot of time, and I'm doing this all on my own, and I have clients to take care of, and there's that. So I'm getting off my soapbox now. Anyways, I originally intended to have this video kind of going over a challenge that I am doing perpendicularly with this, and it derived from me reading and listening to David Goggins' audiobook Can't Hurt Me, and he has an amazing story. It's heartbreaking and inspiring and motivational, but if you know anything about David Goggins, you're not really surprised. So I am going to put the clip of what this challenge is, and then I'm going to give you a watered down version of my answer. I did take a video and talked about it in depth, but I was pretty emotional, so and I don't know, I think I'm just a little bit nervous and scared that it might hurt people's feelings or make them feel bad, and I just don't want that. So yeah, here's a video.
Much, and I know you're about to ask the readers and the listeners to kind of divulge their material here in the first challenge. And so I want to go through the challenge, and then we can talk about this challenge and kind of why you decided to challenge your readers and listeners in the book. I'll start going through it now, if you don't mind.
No, it's perfect, man. Let's do it.
Challenge number 1. My bad cards arrived early and stuck around a while, but everyone gets challenged in life at some point. What was your bad hand? What kind of bullshit did you contend with growing up? Were you beaten, abused, bullied? Did you ever feel insecure? Maybe your limiting factor is that you grew up so supported and comfortable, you never pushed yourself. What are the current factors limiting your growth and success? Is someone standing in your way at work or school? Are you underappreciated and overlooked for opportunities? What are the long odds you're up against right now? Are you standing in your own way? Break out your journal. If you don't have one, buy one. Or start one on your laptop, tablet, or in the Notes app on your smartphone, and write them all out in minute detail. Don't be bland with this assignment. I showed you every piece of my dirty laundry. If you are hurt or are still in harm's way, tell the story in full. Give your pain shape. Absorb its power, because you are about to flip that shit. You will use your story, this list of excuses, these very good reasons why you shouldn't amount to a damn thing, to fuel your ultimate success. Sounds fun, right? Yeah, it won't be. But don't worry about that yet. We'll get there. For now, just take inventory. Once you have your list, share it with whoever you want. For some, it may mean logging onto social media, posting a picture, and writing out a few lines about how your own past or present circumstances challenge you to the depth of your soul. If that's you, use the hashtags. Hashtag bad hand, hashtag can't hurt me. Otherwise, acknowledge and accept it privately. Whatever works for you. I know it's hard, but this act alone will begin to empower you to overcome. So obviously, judging on this chapter, you feel like there's power in taking inventory and owning your story. Do you want to explain this challenge and why it's so important?
Well, I realized so all this stuff made me so weak because it's how I looked at it. I looked at it that I had a jacked up foundation. I looked at it that my mom became, my dad took her soul. And so as you'll read further and further on, that my mindset was controlling my destiny. When you have a poopy pants type of mentality and this happened to me and that happened to me and woe is me and you're kicking rocks down the street with your head down versus looking at this. And you have to find power. You have to find power in everything negative in your life. You have to do that. So by you writing this stuff down, by you owning it, this is now a part of your life, whether you like it or not. So if that's a fact, if it's a fact that this is now a part of my life, whether I like it or not, you better go ahead and start liking it. You better find power within your own story. You better look at your story, if it's a bad one, as, hey, motherfucker, you can't hurt me. Whatever that may be, you better start owning that and flipping and start saying to yourself, yeah, there's a lot of people out here who might have had a better life than you, and they may have a little bit of a head start on life than what you had. But that should be very powerful, for you or anybody else. Why is that powerful? I can tell you why. Because from that right there alone, you can start slowly catching these people, realizing where you come from, realizing the pain you endured, the suffering you endured. If you were bullied, if you have a bad family, whatever, you have to use this and flip the negative upside down and find positive power to fuel you forward. Stop kicking a rock down the road, own it, and make it part of your life.
So if you know me, there are like 4 main factors of my personality, which are being driven, being empathetic, always wanting to help people, and hardworking. And I'm gonna just kind of go into like brief stories of like what I think kind of started it. I grew up as the only child on all sides, and I was left home alone a lot. I had to take care of myself and raise myself a lot of the time, and had to learn really quickly what survival skills I needed. And I think that made me a self-starter. While I was left home alone a lot, we also moved a lot, which meant I couldn't necessarily like latch on to people or anything like that for a long period of time. So I think that also made me super adaptable, and it allowed me to make friends very quickly. I love it. I think it's probably one of my best qualities, because of the fact that I can make friends so quickly has helped me extremely throughout my professional career in sales, and I'm forever grateful for that. But I would be lying if I said that growing up alone and always being alone, it made me feel like I wasn't worth other people's time. So that also led me to try to get people's attention, or try to make sure that they would never leave me, And so I've had a lot of issues with separation anxiety. I also didn't always feel the most worthy of people. So there's that. And on the flip side of like always wanting to do stuff to make sure that people weren't leaving me, I think it kind of ties in with my empathy. And my empathy kind of comes from being made fun of a lot, being called ugly, being called fat, being told I look weird and whatever. And they weren't ever by like people at school necessarily, but they're by people that were close to me, like in other ways, like in family and stuff. So that sucked, and that obviously hurt growing up, and I didn't understand why somebody so close to me, or that's supposed to be like loving or whatever, could be so heartless and mean. So that gave me this mentality of like never wanting to make somebody else feel that way, or realizing that people are all going through their shit. So that meant that I had to like be the better person, and again, just be overly nice to somebody, because they might be having a bad day, and it's not necessarily always be me that's making them mad or upset or whatever. But that taught me to be more empathetic, along with like the fact that I am a bisexual minority woman, and I've had other people that were also considered family tell me that like being quote unquote gay or in the LGBTQ realm is wrong, and that they shouldn't be alive and stuff like that. And that also gave me this feeling of not belonging and not knowing like why, or understanding like these thoughts that people close to me could have, you know. And that actually led me to start like the Gay Straight Alliance in my high school and start advocating for queer youth, and like that was all so valuable for me and my growth and figuring out like how I could start helping people too, you know. Then there is the part of me that is just super driven, and that comes from being scared of going back to where we had been in the past. Like my mom did her absolute best while I was growing up, but she was still a single mom, and we always had food, always. But was it always ideal? No. And I just never want to struggle, you know. And I don't think anybody ever like looks out to say, oh, I would be fine struggling and living my life or whatever. But that has just always been a determining factor of how hard I work and why I work so hard. And I always have that voice, like, you know, whenever there's something that's said to you that can never be taken back, even if they try to make it right afterwards, but it still can never be taken back. And I just always hear this voice of somebody that was close to me saying, you're not gonna make it. You're gonna be on the side of the road, and I'm gonna want to help you, but you're not gonna make it. So I've lived my life proving them wrong, and I'm proud of that. And I'm thankful for that. I'm thankful for those words, because I don't think that I would be as determined. I probably would have, honestly, but like it lit my fire, and it's always going to be there. So I'm always, again, just kind of not out of pettiness, but just out of sheer like, I knew what I was doing, and I know what I'm doing, and I'm going to continue to work hard and make it the best opportunity and I possibly can, you know. Then there's my motivation. My motivation is purely out of all of what I already said, and wanting to help people and wanting to prove the people that didn't believe in me wrong, but also my family and also younger me because I did grow up alone, I spent most of my time just like watching TV and watching movies and watching all of these amazing things that humans made and did and like produced, you know. And I remember always looking up to the athletes and like the sports. And growing up, I had loose ligaments in my hip, and I still do, but they're not as bad. So I couldn't run and I couldn't like do anything active. I also had like terrible nosebleeds from whatever, I don't know, it was from heat and other stuff. But I couldn't ever do the things that like the people could on TV, and that sucked. And I also was lazy growing up, you know. I didn't realize that I guess like athletes still go through the pain, and like whenever I would start feeling the pain of like, or the burn of working out, then I would just stop because I didn't think it felt right. But now I love that shit, you know. And before, I obviously like highly admire bodybuilders, and that's why I want to be like them. Like, they helped me through so many dark times, and like I think there are so many amazing influencers that do put out quality content that help people like me get out of their dark hole. And that's what motivates me, is that like I want to be that for somebody else, you know. And I don't know if that's like conceited or whatever, and it might be, but I finally realize that I'm capable. So I am so much more capable than I ever thought I could be or would be. And I have to ride that wave and figure out what the hell I can do if I actually put my mind to it. Because I've done some pretty amazing things so far that I'm proud of. And I know I could do more. Jess King says, it's okay that the world doesn't know what you're capable of because you don't even know what you're capable of. And that said so much to me. And I need to live that. I need to dig deep and go through this prep and give it my 110 freaking percent. And I am so excited to show you guys that and get to know you guys more, you know, and like provide content for you guys and everything. Right now I'm just kind of like grasping for air and grasping for ideas and just showing you guys my day-to-day life. But if you guys do have things that you want to know about or learn about or interested in, whether or not it's about me and butter over here or me and my life in Texas or like whatever, I'm down, I'm game, I'm an open book, and I'm just excited to share this journey with you. So I hope you guys have an amazing weekend. Happy Good Friday, and I'll talk to you soon. Don't forget to like and subscribe. Here's my bag of poop. I love you so much through thick and thin, y'all. Bye.